Now, obviously, the cleaner production, conservation, even China, they've been have those 水十条 long time ago. They even have tried to conserving the water usage. So those kind of things they've been doing a lot in the last 10, 15 years, and they're gonna continue to do that because their economic growth cannot have enough water for them to just use and dump. Obviously, another thing is, for example, some of the factories, especially in the Shanghai, Beijing area, those have been been asking to move. In the past, you can set up factory, electrical plating, some heavy industry in Shanghai, but now in China concept is they want to put all those same industry in the one industry park. So if you are a chemical plant, you're going to put a chemical industry. May not allow you to do in the Shanghai, Beijing, or some of the developing city already. Same thing as your metal finishing, you got to allow the heavy metal. They want you all in one same industry park. If you don't, you're just gonna face very tough regulation, even tougher than the U.S. Trust me. Sometimes their numerical limit is much lower than the U.S. So those are China. The last one, I'm gonna use India. So India here, even the India's up and coming, allow the business growing, industrial go over there. And I think here what I'm trying to share is not only the India's a lot of developing country where you don't have a mature regulation. Sometimes people don't like a regulation. I don't like a regulation, but sometimes when you have regulation, at least you know how to follow. But when you don't have regulation enough to follow, how are you going to do your business over there? So here's an example. It's automobile part manufacturers operate in the essentially tier 1. Being probably understanding what I mean. Those are direct supplier to a car maker. They make those components for the car maker. So they got a factory over there. Then it's a global company, and they hire us. They want to evaluate what's their EHS risk. So we use this kind of a methodology called a risk radar, risk radar, and you put all different factors in there. So what I do is chart in, where from the risk from 0 to 5. Kind of scale. Then when you get a 5, the legal requirement is high risk. Meaning for there basically is just unclear regulation. And then the certain area electrical safety, emergency management. So something put like that, it goes to the audit, you go to assessment, and then you can put that in the radar. And then after you identify that, you can resolve, improve, and then you can reduce the risk after the period of time. Next, that will be my last one. So in the place, especially in the business owner, sometimes very difficult to figure out all this by yourself, especially in the place you don't have strong government. They don't do anything, and I think that's probably referred to the same way in China 20 years ago. They don't do anything until you have something bad happen. Right? But as a legitimate company, you don't want to do that. You want to do that proactively. So what you can do is you need to take a self-initiative. Get your peer industry or get a cluster of the local people working together, and you can provide those generally awareness and the workforce. And that's one way to improve your result performance over there. So the long story short, regulation is not a bad thing, but it's needed. But even when you have it, you don't like it. But when you don't have it, you also need to figure out how to deal with it. So anyway, that's all my presentation. Before the breaks, we have some time. We are open to the floor, and the people can ask any question from the 3 of the speakers. So far, we have only delivered one question. I'm very disappointed.
So please ask a question, and if a good question, you get a present. Any questions? Also, JC Len, he provided 100 bottle of the souvenir, not for eating. Okay, not for eating. This is fertilizer. Okay, it's $5 value over there. Feel free, take one, but not for eating. Okay. Okay. Do you have any question? I think Josephine, you have a question? Yes.
Why isn't Canada part of the pollution? Because doesn't Canada get most of its pollution from the U.S.?
Which speaker you want to address question to? Alex? Alex, would you please come up here to answer the question?
Excuse me, can you repeat your question again? I'm not sure. How do you think that Canada is the biggest or one of the biggest contributions? Oh yeah, all pollution goes to Canada. Well, as you all know, that is the air we breathe come from, say, Pacific Ocean, from Japan, and from China. So air is circulating around all the time. There's no way you can stop the air in the border. So whatever we do, it will propagate to Canada northwards or down to the Europe, as always has been. So think about this way: is air is continuous moving, and you are continue to grow. So that is going to be a change, and I'm sure you are going to be growing to be a very nice person. So does he get?
It doesn't matter. I think it's the youngest audience. Deserve present. It's a good question. Any other questions? Josephine? Alex?
Okay, this question to JC as well as to Dr. Wong.
Good question.
Anyway, my question, let's hear the question first, okay?
But anyway, my question is this though. I understand all the, you talk about the carbon dioxide, anything like that, that's no problem. I also know the temperature's going up, I have no problem with that. I understand also you have to keep the environment protected or something. But the question is also, the Earth is more or less many years. Okay, JC has a presentation in terms of hot and cold, but if you expand the whole year, I mean the history of the Earth, that particular carbon dioxide, how that related to the hot and cold, would that affect that much? Even without all the protection, all the regulation you have, do you think the hot and cold still continue for years and years to come? That's a good question, right?
That's a very good question. Yeah, Alex, thank you. I mentioned the CO2 level at the 380 ppm. That's in the last 12 million years, we never reached to that high. However, beyond 12 million years ago, yes, we did have that CO2, but it's due to different reasons. This time, it's because human activity caused that, not by the nature, because a lot of organic compounds buried in ground in terms of petroleum product. And petroleum product, because human consumption, we burn a lot of energy and produce CO2. That's what I'm talking about.
I understand that. But in terms of proportion-wise, I understand in the past because the nature, because the earthquake or something related to the dinosaur or something like that. But this kind of carbon dioxide, the increase of carbon dioxide, how that compared to the nature in the past. Well, I'm saying that nature in the past, because the nature, and then you got more dioxide because of earthquake and something like that. But how that proportion to the nature, which is the fact the global warming. So what I'm saying, you look at the whole area, how that particular proportion to the nature in the past. Are you saying that without those kind of, okay, assuming we don't have any nature disaster in the future, okay, so the carbon dioxide will affect that kind of thing compared to the past?
Carbon dioxide do affect in the past.
Yeah, but how that proportion compared to the nature in the past?
Human being, how long we are on the earth.
Yeah.
That maybe affect dinosaur.
Right.
Do we care?
But
we care now.
Yeah.
We care human being.
Yeah.
Human on the earth is only for how long? 50,000 years? 100,000 years? Something like that. Okay. So this time is all because human activity caused that CO2.
Yeah.
The long time ago, do we have a CO2 higher than this? When the Earth forming, I bet CO2 is much higher than that. But during that time, we only got a single cell, maybe animal, live in the world. But now it's so complex.
But you did not answer my question. I'm saying that I understand that CO2, but that proportion to the nature, how that proportion, I mean, you talk about the scale. I want to know the scale, how that compared to the past. Because you got dinosaur or anything like that. But that CO2 increasement, how that will proportion to the history in terms of global warming in the past. And now,
I'm not quite.
Okay, CO2 increase, okay?
Yeah.
But due to CO2, you got temperature increase. How that proportion to the past due to the earthquake or anything like that? Proportion. I'm just saying that even though you got a CO2 increase, that portion.
I think first I would ask whether Alex wants to answer Alex's question. Alex Kwok would like to answer Alex's question.
When somebody asks me, I always can say what I think. And Alex, I used to say Alex, my name is really Alex, but he's a big Alex, not a small little Alex. But actually, you asked a very good question, because the thing is that we overemphasize the contribution of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere to the impact of the global climate change. I totally disagree with that. When you put a line by line together, you would think that there's going to be a direct correlation. I would have to say that there's an atmosphere, what we have and the Earth we have is too complicated. The feedback, interaction is just too complicated. The reason we know that why the increased carbon dioxide can cause quick temperature increase in the experiments, in the physical control experiments. But when you're in the open atmosphere, when you have the oceans, as you know, when you have water, we have clouds, most likely. As I said, water vapor is a greenhouse gas, but we don't talk about that much. But think about clouds can form, water vapor can form clouds, and clouds can form precipitations. And everything will affect what it's going to be looking like in the future. Clouds and ocean are the two uncertainties we are not so sure. So your question is really difficult to answer. But according to the United Nations Intergovernmental Program on Climate Change, it's called IPCC, they released that information saying that we, 97% responsibility for the global climate change because we have the activities producing so much carbon dioxide emission. But I have to say that at the scale headache, okay, that's really trying to tell everybody that we are going to die just because if you don't do anything about it, that is going to be a future. To me, Mother Nature is more resilient. As you know that Earth has been for 4.5 billion years. It's going to last that long. No matter we are here or not. I just don't want people to tell people saying that this is so bad, therefore you have to do something about it. But we are going to do something about that, not because those people tell us it's going to be the catastrophic events for the future. I don't want to have that kind of impression that is what's going to be down to the road. Okay, that's to me is so negative. It's so negative. Just like telling people that we are going to go into the point everybody is going to perish. I don't agree with that. I totally disagree with that.
Okay. I think what we're trying to emphasize here, as Alex said, what's the proportion? But the things worry about us is the trend. Now you see the trend. The trend may be still early stage, but we start to worry about the trend. So although the magnitude may be small now, but in 5, 10 years, 100 years, maybe it's too late to do anything. But anyway, let's have a break. We'll come back 3:10, okay? Don't eat this. Drink coffee and then eat cookie. Don't eat this. But welcome to take the souvenir. We'll come back 3:10. 3:10.
告诉你好。